to look up at the stars. No.
Come take a look at my dream world.
You don't have to look up at the stars.
Chat, if you wanna come get it, then come for it. I'm so clean, my kick's nice, I'm Chuck Norris. Minute made the beat bounce, had to jump on it. Run for it, run, Gump Forrest Gump like hollow pumps, you gotta jump. No trouble, no double, I got a stun. You don't have to look up at the stars. Make one wish, you're looking at a star. Swag so fresh, you can put it in the jar. And the way I change gear, you can put me in the car. I remember when me and Seif used to sneak in every concert door. Now I got my feet in. Every day is Gift Friday, no weekend.
You don't have to look up at the stars.
Welcome back to your favorite live YouTube sports show that is not the final whistle or GOAT Talk with Marcus. Is indeed hashtag this just in, the only this just in a couple months actually. But we did bring blame for the final whistle and your guy doing Marcus from GOAT Talk with Marcus. Gentlemen, what is up?
I'm vibing. It's a good solid Monday night. We're just hanging out, some finals, so why not, right?
Dwayne looks
Talk
very
to you
hydrated. Dwayne looks very hydrated. He looks, looks
Skin pores look all
Yeah.
clean and fresh. Yeah.
almost like he was chugging something.
I just wish I didn't. I just wish Justin wouldn't announce to the class that I was just drinking some juice right there. But it is what it is.
Well, I'm sure the Trailblazers didn't wish that Damian Lillard made some announcements on the Last Stand podcast. And for those, if you didn't see or don't know what I'm talking about, he recently went on a podcast and was asked a hypothetical question. If indeed the Trailblazers were to think about trading him, what would his trade destination be? Where would he want to go? And his immediate words were Miami, obviously. So, Blaine, in light of that, this is a guy who has shot down trade demands all of his, however long he's been in Portland. Do you think now that the Trailblazers will be open to moving Damian Lillard?
It's a great question, right? You're talking about one of the guys who's been very true to his organization, very true to the city of Portland. He's been extremely adamant about how he doesn't want to leave. But I think everything's kind of changed with how the direction of this organization has transpired, right? The last couple of years, you trade away CJ McCollum, his partner in crime for so many years, where him and CJ were arguably a top 5 backcourt in basketball. And you can make arguments that they were even higher. Then he got hurt these last couple of years, hasn't really been healthy. And then they lose out on the number 1 pick. And now he's basically put Portland at a crossroads, right? He's like, I don't want to leave, but sometimes you got to find greener pastures depending upon where opportunities are aligned. And when he kind of said the Miami Heat, everything kind of lined up and clicked, right? Especially in how these NBA finals have gone with the Miami Heat. What are they missing? Prestigious guard play. And their backcourt has not shown up whatsoever. They're playing 5-on-3 basically out there at some points with how bad Gabe Vincent and Max Strus have played in this NBA finals. But you also can say the caveat is that Gabe Vincent especially has been a major component of why they're even in the NBA finals to begin with. I think Miami has to be a true consideration, but I was looking at some of what they would have to do to get rid of him. They're not going to be able to swap it straight up, right? It's going to be a lot. They're going to have to bring in a third team. Who knows what that team is? A lot of people think it might be you bring in Cleveland, maybe because of the picks that Cleveland has, right? But
don't jump the gun. We still have to get to the possible destination, Blaine. Don't jump the gun.
Oh, I'm sorry. If there is a destination, I would say the Miami Heat probably is if he is going to leave.
That means we'll table Blaine for last in the last segment. Dwayne, considering these comments, and also he has previously said or he's been adamant about not leaving the organization. However, he did say that he wants the organization to build a contender. And if that's not the case, then we're going to have some serious discussions at a later date. Does this mean, Dwayne, that the Blazers could be looking to trade Damian Lillard?
I don't think there's any other option at this point. I mean, when you look at what the Portland Trailblazers have done over Damian Lillard's, we're talking 12, 13-year career, somewhere around there. Like, the Portland Trailblazers have never built a championship contender around Damian Lillard since he's been there. They have overachieved, and they have put themselves... Damian Lillard has overachieved, and in certain scenarios, they have been in position to compete for a championship when they shouldn't have been. Most recently in 2019, we've been in the Western Conference Finals. But by and large, the Portland Trailblazers have never made a full-on commitment to building a championship contending roster around Damian Lillard. And it's not going to change. Like, the third pick is not valuable. It's really not. When you look at who the first overall pick is going to be, it's going to be Victor Wembanyama. And this is no disrespect to Scoot Henderson, who as of late is looking like it's going to be the third overall pick. Scoot's not making his way to Portland and changing things to the point where now you're looking at the Trailblazers as a championship contender. And to be completely honest, if the Trailblazers did get the number one overall pick, as fantastic of a prospect as Victor Wembanyama is, he is not in year one going to change the tide so much for the Portland Trailblazers to end up being a championship contender. When you look at the teams in the Western Conference, you have the Denver Nuggets, who I know we're going to talk about later, who obviously a win away from the NBA Finals, or NBA Championship, excuse me. You have the Lakers, you've got the Clippers, you have the Warriors. Like, the Kings aren't going anywhere. Ja could still be in the hunt without him. Maybe not. Like, there's still so much happening in the West. The Pelicans with a healthy Zion, like, they could make some noise. I think the Thunder are going to be a good basketball team next year. Like, there's so many, the Mavericks maybe, like the Suns. There are so many teams in the West that can be in the thick of things. That what does a Trailblazers team with Scoot Henderson do in the West next season? The exact same thing they did this season. Win a couple games here and there. Dame will drop a couple all-time great performances, and they'll still be sitting at home come June when it's time to crown an NBA champion. I think they should. I think this is the first time that Damian Lillard has made it almost as crystal clear as it gets that he doesn't really want to be there anymore. At the very least, that he has thought about leaving. And the Trailblazers need to just swallow their pride, send him on his way, and when Dame retires, put his jersey in the rafters where it belongs.
Same question, Neil. Do you think Portland is going to move on from Damian Lillard, or is this much ado about nothing?
Well, as Blaine and Dwayne said, it's inevitable at this point. Just before I make my point, I want to make note that you and your cohort here in the chat, Mario Loki, could really start with that Rally the Valley talk. We're not going no. We're not. You mean you want James Harden? You want James Harden? You want KD? Booker?
Don't spoil my points. Don't spoil my points.
Anyhow, right. So I think that Dwayne and Blaine said it quite well. That it is kind of time for the Portland Trailblazers to kind of move on from it, because you can see Damian Lillard, he is starting to consider leaving Portland. He said it not only in that podcast, but he also said it on a live. Well, he didn't say, he kind of insinuated when they were talking about where would I go. He was talking about the Lakers, and they were saying, no, I'm not going to the Lakers, not going to the Lakers. But the way the tone of that, live, it was like, yeah, I'm open to. I mean, credit to young man. I mean, he stuck it out. He did the Kevin Garnett thing. He really wanted Portland to build a team around him and to have a franchise where he could take them into a lot of success, but it didn't materialize. So I think it should be about time that they'll look at, because Damian Lillard is what? He's 33. Right. So, I mean, at this point, he's just wasting. Well, not wasting, but you want to achieve certain things before you hang up your sneakers for good. And I think Damian Lillard, he's all-time shot maker. And well, I guess we will talk about the next segment, where he will go to. But yeah, I think it's time for that one piece in the NBA to shift. he's like the only cornerstone in the NBA that's remained consistent for the last decade. It's time, Damian. You know, I mean, LA is a nice warm city. It has
Ah,
a lot of stars, a lot of color, a lot of diversity. Just putting it out there. Just,
what? Why am I not surprised? And he's here talking about my Phoenix bias.
no, I was
I'll
just
say
making
this, right?
that was just social studies. I was just saying that LA is a
Oh,
great
of
city.
course.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I wasn't saying anything else. Don't hold me for tampering, Adam. Please.
Because you don't have your Laker yellow behind that chair, right? I'll say this, right? Logistically, Portland is under no pressure really to move from Dame Lillard in that he signed through till 2027 after that recent 2-year extension he signed. So contractually, they're under no pressure in that he's not going to be an impending free agent. Furthermore, he doesn't even have a no trade clause, so it's not like he can force his way to particular destinations or say that he doesn't want to go another particular destination. What I will say is that he's clearly put them on the clock talking about building a contender around him. And part of that problem, as all four of us know, is that Portland is not a free agent destination. People don't go to Portland in free agency. So then it means you only have two ways to build this team around him. One is trade, and you really don't have much assets outside of that number 3 pick, in which Dwayne talked about, which I'm going to get to very shortly. And the other one is a draft. And as Dwayne so eloquently put it, there is no rookie coming into the league that is going to help a contender or elevate a team to contending status within his first year. I think, guys, the telltale sign of what Portland will do is what they do with that number 3 overall pick. So in that, we know that the no rookie is coming to help build or make a team a contender. Then if they keep that number 3 overall pick and use it on a player, then I think that signs that they're looking or ready to move on from Damian Lillard. The only issue for me in terms of trading that number 3 overall pick, and again, Dwayne spoke about it, is what value does that number 3 pick overall pick have? It's not expected to be extremely star-studded draft class outside of Victor Wembanyama. And what's worse is that there aren't many stars on bad teams that you can just trade the number 3 overall pick and get. In other words, maybe you look at a Bradley Beal in Washington, maybe you're talking about a Trae Young in Atlanta, and then obviously Trae Young and Damian Lillard next to each other. Those are two bad defensive guards and two small ones. So that doesn't work either. So maybe I'm leaning towards y'all and saying that Portland, most likely because they're trapped. The number 3 overall pick doesn't carry much weight right now. And, Damian Lillard is not going to want to have another rookie next to him next season. So I suspect that Portland may indeed be starting to look at trade destinations. And Neil, you can move on to the next segment. Because for me, in terms of both sides winning a trade, the best spot for me would be Boston. I know Damian Lillard has already shot down moving to Boston, and so probably that won't happen. But there's a reason why I believe it makes sense for Boston, simply because from both sides, when you start at Portland, when you look from Portland's point of view, Boston is the only team that can really give them another star and a package of picks. Like everyone else is going to give you picks, but no one else in the rumored teams have a star at the level of a Jaylen Brown to give you. So, like, if you talk about Miami, it's going to be the best player you're going to get back is Tyler Hero and picks. That's not Jaylen Brown. And then you look at New York, there are no players there that Portland's going to want. And obviously, they're just looking at picks more so than anything else. But at least with Boston, you're getting a player of a star level player and those draft capital, right? And from Boston's point of view, right, no matter where you put Jaylen Brown on the spectrum, whether you think Jaylen Brown is as high as a player who could be a number 1 option on a team, or as low as somebody who you think is trash, that is a turnover prone because he can't go left. The reality is Boston getting Dame Lillard you have to see that as an upgrade to Jaylen Brown. Like that's an obvious upgrade. And then it answers your immediate problems that you faced over the last 5-6 years. You immediately have one of your best players is a ball handler who can facilitate, because we know Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, none of those players are good facilitators. So for me, the best solution would be Boston. But the only problem is over the last week, Damian Lillard has basically shut down ever going to Boston. Go ahead, Blaine. I know you want to talk about a destination, so right in.
Sorry, right? You don't want to be down that hill.
Can you hear me now? Sorry, I cut out.
Loud and clear.
Marcus, why are you laughing? My laptop bugging out, okay? I think the biggest thing for when it comes, I mean, I kind of already answered this question in the first round, but you know, as Neil was doing some tampering, you know, he could always come home to the Bay, baby. Never gonna say no to that. So,
not so far north though. We going south.
That's okay.
South California.
But I think Miami's got to be the most logical option if we're actually doing an analysis of where Damian Lillard should go. I mean, like I kind of mentioned, it's going to take a lot. Like some of these potential trades that I've seen look pretty crazy when it comes to how much it would take. Like it would include, like here's one, just a scenario, like if it's Portland and Cleveland, right? Just for the Heat to get Lillard, Blazers would get Tyler Hero, Okoro, Jovic, 2023 first rounder, 2027 first rounder, 2029 first rounder, and then you have to bring in Cleveland as for Caleb Martin, a 2024 second rounder, just so that the salaries kind of line up money wise, right?
And that's why he went towards Boston, because partially like salary, I know obviously salaries don't quite match, but with Jaylen Brown, you don't have to worry that much about salary, and then they can give up like 3 future first round picks. So this is why for me it's not Miami, because for so much you have to make, and you have to bring in a third team at that just to make this deal happen. But continue, Blaine. Sorry.
See, but for that, Justin, is that, are you going to be able to get 2 alphas to really work together on the court in Jayson Tatum and Damian Lillard, right? So I mean, there's also that issue I think in Miami too. Like you've got 2 alphas if he goes to Miami, and Jimmy Butler and Damian Lillard. The one thing that I kind of would lean towards Miami working better than Boston is because I think Jimmy Butler would also understand the situation with how Damian Lillard would be the catalyst to that team. And Jimmy Butler would have to relinquish the reins, right, over to Dame. I think he would be willing to do that. And I don't think he would be too afraid to be a number 2 option. I think there would be a little bit more clashing in Boston from a 1A, 1B perspective, right? Unlike when it is with Jaylen Brown. We all know Jaylen Brown's the number 2 option there right now. So, and I don't think the Knicks will make that move. That'd be a little bit odd with Jalen Brunson. Everyone's talking about Brooklyn too, but he goes to Brooklyn. Brooklyn doesn't have much there if Brooklyn makes the deal, right? It's pretty much just Portland 2.0 if he goes to Brooklyn because of everything they would have to give up for that trade to work. So if you really look at it, I mean, I think Miami is one of the few teams where it kind of clicks from my perspective.
So to also add to what Blaine had to say in terms of Brooklyn, of the teams that Lillard kind of mentioned in the podcast, I think Brooklyn has the ability to offer the most draft capital. And it would obviously be a situation where they're trying to pair Damian Lillard and Mikal Bridges. So Dwayne, same question, what is the most likely landing spot for Dame Lillard if Portland decide to move on from the all-star point guard? You're muted.
Sorry. The Sixers. I feel like we're trying to reinvent the wheel here and say things that are cool. The Heat aren't going to let go of Tyler Hero. They made that abundantly clear when they wouldn't trade him for James Harden. So the Heat are virtually out the window, and I don't think the Trailblazers would want anything other than Tyler Hero back. Sometimes, Justin, and I don't know if you know this. I know Neil knows this because he's known you for a long time. Justin, you contradict yourself like so much with the things you say. It's actually really interesting. So you said that like a Trae Young, Damian Lillard scenario in Portland wouldn't work because of a lack of defense, a lack of defense in the backcourt.
And their size.
Sure.
Their best redundancy is size.
Great. And then we're going from that to sending Damian Lillard to Boston for Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is the superior defensive player. The Boston
Agreed.
Celtics over the last 2 or 3 seasons have been one of the best defenses in basketball, and they've had one of the best defensive backcourts in basketball. It would make no sense for the Boston Celtics to give up the defense that Jaylen Brown brings to the table for Damian Lillard. It just wouldn't really make much sense. That's not a win-win in either scenario. And for the Trailblazers scenario, building around Jaylen Brown is worse than building around Damian Lillard because Damian Lillard is better than Jaylen Brown. So I don't see how that's a win-win scenario.
So to answer your question, obviously in a situation where Boston has to reset, like, you've gone down this road of being a very, very deep defensive unit, and year in, year out, you have the same problem over and over again in terms of your 2 best players. You can't have the ball in their hands in late game scenarios because neither of them are good passers, neither of them are good ball handlers. So you have a problem, and you've tried to address the problem by bringing in guard after guard after guard, and the same problems. So you brought in Malcolm Brogdon, and then you brought in Derek White to address the situation of playmaking, and that has bitten them. Like, they're great defense. You make no mistake about that. The issue is it's gotten them so far time and time again, and when you get to the great teams, they've figured you out. Like, we know what Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, you know what they're coming to do. So force them to be playmakers, and well, that's the end of that. Like, there's no connectivity in your offense. But to your point, it wouldn't be about building around Jaylen Brown more so than, because you're right. The reality is, whatever you trade Damian Lillard for, you're not getting back a full dollar. You're getting back cents on the dollar. So I'm saying in terms of, it's not to say that you're getting better by trading Damian Lillard. Like, no one that moves on from a star is going to ever get better. That's not the situation. What I'm saying is, of the options, the best that you're going to get back in terms of a star, because no one else, whether it's New York, whether it's Brooklyn, whether it's Miami, no one else is going to give you back a player of the caliber of a Jaylen Brown. I'm not saying that Jaylen Brown obviously is better than Damian Lillard, because no one believes that. I'm just saying that of the packages, there is no player that you're going to get back better than Jaylen Brown. And then you start by rebuilding with the draft picks.
That's still not a win for the Trailblazers.
And how does this get different than the whole Kyrie Irving situation? Because you kept alluding to guard struggles going back and forth.
Oh, well, the difference is that Damian Lillard plays basketball when he's.
That's Marcus. That's fair. He will show up very well.
That's really the only difference.
But from a basketball standpoint, Damian Lillard's just a little bit better of a shooter. Kyrie's more of a slasher. There's still that. There's still similar nuances from gameplay perspective of how Boston would operate.
Fair enough, but sorry, we crossed Dwayne. So you said Philadelphia, Dwayne.
Yeah, I feel like this is open and shut. I don't know. We keep trying to come up with these really fancy things that aren't that fancy.
For who? Harden?
Why are you yelling at me? I haven't yelled at you yet, Blaine. Don't yell at me.
You looked at me crazy.
I've not yelled at you yet.
Already on the show.
I haven't, but I didn't raise my voice at you. I've been very civil and very respectful.
I got questions.
Okay?
So
let me explain, Blaine.
Right, yeah,
You're supposed to be on mute. Let me explain, Blaine Spencer. This is why you're not coming on the show tomorrow. Anyway, you trade.
I didn't want to be on the show.
You're gonna go cry in your pillow to Joe Ciccoletti after this. Relax. Damian Lillard, I think, going to the Sixers, would make the most sense. And no, not for James Harden, because James Harden is a free agent. It's going to move on, and he'll end up in Houston somewhere. And and I don't think he wants to be in Portland. But I do think that when you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, I think while they don't have necessarily like the picks, I think what they do have is they have enough role playing talent where, like, if the Blazers want to commit to the tank for the next couple seasons, there's definitely players that the Sixers can send over there to help facilitate that. Tobias Harris is going to be included in that trade package if Damian Lillard would be sent. He's getting older and he's on an expiring contract, and there's nothing wrong with Tobias Harris, but if they have an opportunity to get Damian Lillard, they're going to move on from Tobias Harris. I feel like, though, the only other place that I think you look at and you say maybe it's possible. And by the way, Justin, we need to get you like a shirt officially that says blank is not a free agent destination. Because I feel like every time we have these conversations, you fall back on that line. That's your go-to.
There are a lot of places that are not. There are a lot of places.
Yeah. So, but
it's low-hanging fruit, Justin. Like,
but you have to put it in like.
You don't.
Like if Portland was a free
Portland's
agent,
a nice place. Why are you crapping on?
It's not a free agent destination.
It's a nice
though.
place to be.
Like,
Stop.
Have you ever been to Portland? Have you ever been to Portland?
Portland's a beautiful city. Okay.
That's not what I asked.
Man doesn't know where Portland is.
The only other place I think that realistically it's not being talked about enough. I do think that there is a chance that maybe Damian Lillard could get traded to the Bucks. I don't know. I think it's possible. I personally would like to see it. I think we've kind of tiptoed around the idea of Dame and Giannis being on the same team. We've flirted with it. We've seen people kind of put it together and like fake duos. How many games will this duo win? Could this duo win a championship? And it's always Giannis and Dame. I think whether it's Giannis or whether it's Embiid, I think the one thing that Dame has been missing in his career as it pertains to building around him is a reliable guy down low that can pour it on offensively, right? We know what Yusuf Nurkic is capable of, but he is not at all necessarily an offensive threat. That doesn't necessarily mean he can't go out there and get you 15 and 15 or 20 and 20 because he has done that before, but he is not offensively on the level of Giannis Antetokounmpo or Joel Embiid. Those two places I personally would like to see Dame get traded to because I think those are the two places where he's most likely to win a championship, more so the Bucks than the Sixers. Nothing wrong with the Heat, but the Heat make their money off of depth, and they would have to give up a lot of it to land Dame, and then they're in an unfortunate situation.
Same thing, Neil. I'm not referring to. I mean, someplace not named Southern California. And
Push the
just to
agenda,
add
Neil.
to
Don't
Dane's
let him
point-
do like that. Push the agenda, bro. This is your chance. Look, if Adam Silver finds you, I'll pay the fine. Go ahead. Do it.
Oh well, then Damian. I mean, no, seriously. As much as I would love him to come to South California, I agree. The thing is, Blaine. Sorry, he gave a very good take in that when he said Miami, I was like, that's not bad. I would like him to go to Miami, but unfortunately, it doesn't look feasible, especially when you look at the how salaries are, how everything is set up. You would have to bring in a third team and hope that everybody's on the same page, et cetera, et cetera. But can you imagine the heart of Damian Lillard on a team that has so much heart with Jimmy Butler, et cetera? Anyhow, that's just fancy basketball that I'm talking about. In terms of him,
I'll pay the fine. Do it.
all right, come to LA. Come to LA, yo. Like, I mean, the Lakers, because we have LeBron James. Everybody always wondered what it would be like to play with LeBron James. Shoot, we don't even have to have a backup point guard for you. You would just run the point guard situation. Shoot, we could get rid of, what's the boy name? The German? Dennis Schroeder. We can get rid of him. We can get rid of, you want to get rid of Bazemore? Who you want to get rid of? You get rid of anybody for you. That's fine. You know what I mean?
What about Austin Reeves that you have to pay, and then you don't have any
He's not a
place
point.
to sign anybody?
He's a shooting guard.
No,
And
no, I
Reeves is a
understand that.
restricted free agent anyway.
No. He's trying to trap me. I don't. These little Bulgarians, that's not racist at all. But no, seriously, right? I think a good place for him to go would be New York. I actually think that would be a good place for him. I understand the Boston situation. However, I feel like they got a lot more problems than just figuring out what to do with Jaylen Brown. And to me, if you trade for Damian Lillard, it can kind of potentially put you in because you got problems at center, at the forward position. You got problems at point guard. You got problems all over the place. So, yes, New York. I think that New York would be a good fit for him because I know New York is a culture where they kind of shoot themselves in the foot. But hopefully, a player like Damian Lillard will give them the impetus to say, okay, let me actually make a run at this thing. Put together a team that can make it deep into the playoffs. You have Julius Randle. You have the boy Brunson. He's pretty good. I think that, if you could somehow keep that core in place, they would do well. The 76ers, I think they're appealing, but I feel as though, I don't know why, but Joel Embiid and Damian Lillard, to me, I don't see them gelling. I don't know why. I think their personalities and their style of play will cause them to be very frustrated with each other. I think they're both very set in their ways and they both have an agenda to win their way. And I think I don't know if Damian really on that Joel Embiid train yet. So I think New York would be good. Miami would obviously be a preferred thing. I would like to see that. No, I'm not a Miami fan. My ultimate destination would be the Lakers, but I really do think that New York, hopefully a player like Damian Lillard would give them it would give them the chance to start anew and build a franchise around a player, at least for the short term. You wouldn't necessarily have to mortgage the farm long term for him. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I like New York. And this butt stop. Giannis and Damian Lillard, this is not 2K. We don't do that. We're not doing that. We don't just put together teams and try to make things work and fudge the numbers in the back end. No, we don't do that. I just think that Damian Lillard, you don't have to go far. You just come a little south and you'll be at the Lakers. LeBron James is an all-time great. You got Anthony Davis. Who doesn't want to play with Anthony Davis? Shoot, you'll get his minutes because he doesn't play often. So you could come. Austin Reeves is a promising player. Come on down. Weather is fine.
The New York Knicks don't deserve Damian Lillard.
We're not talking about deserve, no. I agree.
The New York Knicks don't deserve Damian Lillard. You know what I actually would love? I would love for all signs to point, just like last offseason, I would love for all signs to point to the New York Knicks potentially getting Damian Lillard. And then just like Donovan Mitchell, like at the last second, some other team that we had no idea was in the running just comes out and snags them. You know why? Because the New York Knicks are garbage. Their organization is garbage. The team is garbage. The fans are garbage. I am so sick of the New York Knickerbockers. And I don't want to rerun the rant I gave Blaine and Joe Ciccoletti on my show about a month and a half ago. But the New York
stand up
deserve a player the caliber of Damian Lillard. They deserve what they have. Julius Randle and RJ Barrett is what they deserve. The Knicks don't deserve Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard deserves better than the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks deserve garbage. Absolutely.
I hope you don't
garbage.
I hope you don't intend on walking down Manhattan anywhere near Madison anytime.
I do plan on going to New York in a month or so to go see the Liberty.
What to do, right? What to do is take a selfie with Madison and say, "Yeah, I'm in the set. I'm in the set.
Yeah, I'm here."
Yeah,
they don't deserve Dame.
They deserve you, though. I guess it sounds like if you're going up there, they deserve you.
No, they don't deserve me. I'm too good for the New York Knicks.
And yet you're going to be the better man to go anyway.
I'm going to go see the Liberty, not the Knicks. Let's be serious here.
Better team in.
So Neil talked about fudging numbers, and as we're on talking about numbers, what number that Phoenix Suns definitely don't want is the $30 million that would be guaranteed to Chris Paul if he was still on the roster after June, I want to say 28. So the team has met with Chris Paul's representatives and have said are open to talks about trade and even possibly waiving. But what we do know is that Phoenix Suns do not intend to pay Chris Paul's upcoming $30 million salary. So Blade, with this news, should the Phoenix Suns move on from Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton this offseason?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, Phoenix kind of, their hands were tied with Ayton last year.
He spin that thing. Put that camera on Blaine.
Oh, thank you. Give me my solo. Give me my solo shot. But when it comes to Phoenix, yeah, I think it's become a no-brainer when it pertains to letting DeAndre Ayton and CP3 walk. or at least figuring out a way to trade them. The Suns' hands became tied because they wanted to use him as a trade asset last year, but then Indiana decided to pay him some money, and then Phoenix had to sign the offer sheet because they're like, well, now we need to overpay him to potentially make him a trade asset in the future. And the man looks deflated. He got benched again in this postseason. He doesn't want to be out there. There is now consecutive years where there's a question mark how much he loves the game of basketball, especially if he's not a focal point and involved in the game. If he doesn't get his touches early on, he is completely checked out. And then as it pertains to CP3, I mean, Phoenix needs so much help everywhere else, especially in this Western Conference. Like, remember, guys, Devin Booker had to play absolutely superhuman to buy them 2 games against the Denver Nuggets.
Look at you
To buy
discrediting
them 2
Kevin
games.
Durant right there. Love that for you.
You know, Kevin Durant also played very well, but his shooting percentage was not 85% like it was Devin Booker, okay? No offense, Marcus.
Disrespect to Kevin Durant will not be tolerated. I just want to put that out there.
It will be for this show. Keep going, Blaine.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Hey, Kevin Durant got me 2 championships. I very much love Kevin Durant, so. And yes, we are in as the Golden State Warriors, okay? Yes, I am in that conversation. But the real question is who's going to be willing to trade for them, right? DeAndre Ayton's free agency market was very limited last year. It was pretty much Indiana and then a little bit of Charlotte, but other than that, they don't really have the assets for Phoenix. Maybe try if you can get Halliburton, but it doesn't seem like Indiana's going to want to get rid of him anytime soon. And then as it pertains to CP3, he's going to I think CP3 might have to do a buyout. I think it might come down to that, and you just have to cut him. You take your poison, make sure you don't get that 30 million in these next couple weeks. Because as what I've seen, his market's also very limited because he has just been unable to stay on the court when it matters in these last couple postseasons regarding his health.
So to add on to that, if the Phoenix Suns do indeed waive Chris Paul before that June 28th deadline, they'd only owe him $15.8 million. And the talk is that they were hoping to bring him back on a 1-year minimum contract, but Chris Paul does not want any part of that. So, Neil, your Pacific Division rivals, should they look to move on from both Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton? Sorry.
Shoot, I could add in some names to that. You could add in DeAndre Ayton, Bismack Biyombo. You could add in some names in there. They need to move on from a lot of people. But yes, I do think it's time for them to move on from CP3 and DeAndre Ayton. Shoot, I feel as if I can be recounting things that we talk about in the group chat when you and some of our other friends complaining, who are Phoenix Suns fans, always complain about DeAndre Ayton. But seriously, I think you have Kevin Durant, you have Devin Booker, you have quite literally 2 of the greatest scorers in the NBA today. You need to maximize that. CP3 is not, you cannot rely on him in the playoffs. Just forget about him. DeAndre Ayton has shown that he just is not about that life in terms of the amount of money and attention he garners. I think they need to start looking at solidifying those 2 positions with some younger talent or just some players that can know their role and just get the job done. I think right now they should be turning off the reins completely to Devin Booker, even though I don't know if Kevin Durant would want to be part of that, but I think that it is time that we really get a team that showcases and shines the talents of Devin Booker. I know that you add Kevin Durant. The thing about it is I keep hearing that some wild rumors that James Harden looking to go there too. Phoenix, if you can hear me, don't do that. We're trying to maximize potential here, and James Harden is not that. So don't do that. I think that if they can get a veteran player at either position and players that can kind of give you the production that you expect out of DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul, then you'll be all right. Chris Paul he's as old as we are, and he does not play any perimeter defense. So it still would be good to have a perimeter defender to be there with Devin Booker to solidify that perimeter, and then you need a shot blocker down low. Bismack Biyombo, kind of long in the tooth now, may not be the right person to get that done. So I think you can kind of look. The only problem is who's out there, right? Like who players can you get to fill that on such short notice? And to me, the heart. No, Justin. We always joke about this heart, right? We always joke about gifts from the Father and other intangibles, things that you cannot imagine on the stat sheet. But to me, the heart of DeAndre Ayton is something that I can't get done with. I think more than his production or lack thereof and his seeming lack of interest in basketball, I think him taking himself out of the game and him sulking certain times or whatever, especially when you're in the conference semifinals like that, nope, that ain't gonna work with me. I firmly believe that you need players around you that want to get the job done, that want to be engaged, that want to face the challenge. Even if you face the challenge and fall flat on your face, the point is that you meet the challenge and you get things done. So Devin Booker is the killer. We already know the Slim Reaper is, all time. So they need to start building around that and getting players that want to be there and are able to be there and perform.
Same thing, Dwayne. Do you keep them? Do you move on?
I don't know why we're playing these games. Like, why are we making this such a difficult thing? Chris Paul needs to go. DeAndre Ayton needs to go. The only way we should ever see Chris Paul or DeAndre Ayton back in Phoenix is on a road game on another basketball team. This is very, very simple. This is really open and shut. And Chris Paul, I'm sorry that your daughter's getting bullied because you never won a championship. Do better. I don't know what to tell you. Here's what we need to do. Because when you look at some of the other number one overall picks in the history of basketball, they're held to a certain standard, having been a former number one overall pick. I don't like the lack of intensity around DeAndre Ayton's lack of production as a former number one overall pick. This is a man who was picked over Luka Doncic and Trae Young. And we sit here year in and year out, and we just kind of say, oh, well, yeah, DeAndre Ayton's not playing that well this year, and he lacks physicality, and he just doesn't care. No, where's the energy, bro? This man was picked number one overall to change the organization, change the franchise, and he's done none of those things. And we sit here and we talk about DeAndre Ayton like he's a 20th overall pick or something. Like he was picked during a Taco Bell commercial, like Nikola Jokic or something. Where's the energy, bro? DeAndre Ayton is Charmin soft. He's not a good basketball player. That is not going to change now that he's no longer in the desert. Bro, I don't care if you send him to Timbuktu. He's not a good basketball player. And that's just how it is sometimes. I don't know. I understand the Suns wanted to trade him. Bro, the decision and I don't want to speak too disrespectfully about the decision-making of the Suns front office, because I do recognize, Justin and Neil, that you guys are friends with one of the faces of the Suns front office. So I don't want to be too disrespectful here. I like coming to the show. But let's call a spade here. That was a dumb decision, bro. Why are we? It doesn't matter if you wanted to trade DeAndre Ayton. I would rather you let him walk than overpay him because you want to trade him. That's stupid, bro. Use your common sense. DeAndre Ayton is Charmin soft. He is inconsistent. I can count on one hand the number of times I have ever woken up after a Suns game and said, wow, DeAndre Ayton had a great game. And I don't even need to use all 5 fingers. I might not even get past this one. It's been that bad. And we sit here and we keep making excuses. Oh, well, it's because they don't feed him in the post as much. Or, oh, it's because this is a mid-range shooting jump team. Bro, I wouldn't care if this was the bad boy Pistons, 1 or 2. He's not a good basketball player. As for Chris Paul, he's an all-time great. He's going to the Hall of Fame. But this is a team, when you have Kevin Durant and you have Devin Booker, this is a basketball team that has to get out in space. And Chris Paul don't got the legs for that no more. His knees gave out a long time ago, and he just don't have it no more. And it's okay. Send him, let him go somewhere where he can be that slow-paced, methodical facilitator for a basketball team. Send him to Miami. I don't know where you're going to send him, but he needs to be out of Phoenix, and DeAndre Ayton needs to be out of Phoenix too. The only time DeAndre Ayton or Chris Paul should step back in that arena in Phoenix, Arizona, is as a member of the opposing team. That is it, and that is all. I don't understand why year in and year out, we keep sitting here trying to make this situation in Phoenix so difficult. Bro, I need the Suns to win a championship because I'm starting to run out of ammo in my KD defense belt, bro. Like, I can't keep coming with the same stuff. I need new ammo, bro. Like, I love KD and I'll defend him to the end, but I need new ammo. Like, I need to be able to say that KD has accomplished something because it's hard-headed people out there, old heads that just don't want to hear what I got to say. I need more ammo. Phoenix, I need you to give me more ammo, bro. Build something in Phoenix so that I can have some more ammo so that the Suns can go on a run and I can get back on to pushing my best in the world agenda for Kevin Durant. Like, I'm running out of ammo, bro. I need more. I need more. If you don't want to do it for yourselves, do it for me.
No, we don't want the Phoenix Suns to rise to power at all. I don't want that in my life at all. Because
I just
Justin
need one
Marvel
championship. I just need one championship, Neil.
No.
For me,
No,
I just need one.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Hush over there, Neil Hoyt. So
You don't know what you're asking for, boy.
And not just because, like, as David Bayer correctly said in the chat, like, you couldn't let DeAndre Ayton leave for absolutely nothing. And you have a recent case just to go on that when Dallas sat down and watched Jaylen Brunson leave for absolutely nothing. Like, these are, like, what happened after that is a direct result. And you can't let players, or at least talented players, especially the ones that you draft and develop.
I do gotta say though, I didn't say what Marcus said. James Jones, I would love to have you on the final whistle.
I love to have
I did not speak about him like that. So James Jones, if you're watching, hey, final whistle, we're always welcome to have you. Come on down.
This is the thing. James Jones is a phenomenal basketball mind. He's an NBA champion, and what he has built in Phoenix is amazing. That being said, there comes a point in time in life when you need constructive criticism. And that was my constructive criticism. The decision to bring back DeAndre Ayton for another season was a terrible one. That's all I'm saying. That's all.
No, you're right on that. I will 100% agree with that statement.
Yeah.
James Jones, please don't take me away. Please don't come off of my show. I think Justin's having some technical difficulties.
I've hosted the show once before.
You know, I was going to host the show. Of course. Of course.
There is a lot happening.
Let's go to the next topic. What we got?
And Neil, we're going to start with you since this hits right at home for you. There were reports that Kyrie Irving wants LeBron to head to Dallas to play with him and Luka. Maybe that's not going to happen. But could we see, Neil, Kyrie Irving in purple and gold with LeBron next season?
No. I am glad you started with me because you see how you just ranted all pretty and eloquent? I'm going to rant no, right?
Floor is yours.
If I were Luka Doncic, if I were, what's that guy's name, Mark Cuban, if I were any of those guys, and I heard Kyrie talking out his mouth, because he said publicly, I ain't interested in going to LA, but come on over, Braun. I would say, you know what? This kid is not, get him from around the team. You have Luka Doncic, who is essentially the best thing to happen to the Dallas Mavericks since Dirk Nowitzki, right? You have an opportunity to build around a young star to have another 20-year career and have greater success than Dirk Nowitzki. You are going to now run off that Luka Doncic by saying, oh, come on, LeBron, come play with me. Remember how it was in Cleveland? Remember we won that championship? Remember me, buddy? Yeah, man, I made a mistake. Let's get together again. I real sorry. I would get on my PR team. I would Mark Cuban. Mark, you need to get rid of Kyrie Irving, yo. I real serious.
So where Kyrie going then?
He's a free agent. He can go wherever he wants.
Well,
He's
That's what I
unrestricted.
mean.
oh well.
Because Neil doesn't want him, and
No, we
in
do
LA,
not.
you just said.
No, we do not. No, we do want. Do not. I would say, Beijing Sharks. That's the name of the team. I would say no. Honestly, man, where can Kyrie go now? Where, like, think about it. Think about where Kyrie can go. I mean, granted, he's a talented all-world player,
Sure.
but he is a part-time basketball, like, being engaged in basketball. Where is he gonna go? He already burned. He's not going back to Cleveland because Cleveland building something special there, right? Brooklyn can't want to see him on paper again. Boston don't want to see him on paper again. He is not going. He is never going to go to the Heat, right? So you take
There's
Golden,
reports that the Rockets were saying that if they can't get James Harden to come back, they'll take Kyrie.
and that is a perfect fit for Kyrie Irving, the worst team in the NBA. That is perfect. He can run Jalen Green's career all he wants. I have no problem with that, you know, because what sort of disrespect, right? Do you? I don't know, man. It frustrated me when I saw him say, "Yeah, LeBron," because I was saying, "Oh, can there be a reunion between him and LeBron?" I was like, "Oh, so Kyrie thinking about getting to LA?" No. He want him to come to Dallas. I said, "Brother, man, how is that? How do you? How you just came? You literally have not unpacked yet, and you are already having LeBron James come in that you know he's going to replace Luka Doncic. He's a primary ball handler. You know he's going to take minutes and touches away from Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic, who has been likened to the next LeBron James, the one that is expected to be bringing all of this success to Dallas. You're going to know, come and slap that man in his face and say, "Yeah, man, you got to play with me, man. Come on, bro. Let's get it on. Let's go." And then Luka now going to go. Luka going to probably, I don't know, shoot. You know, at this point in time, if LeBron James foolish enough to go over there, you know, Luka, but you don't come to LA too. Shoot. You know, you and Damian Lillard can make beautiful music together. I just think, honestly speaking, when I saw this question come up, right, and I was doing the graphics for it, I was like, why? Like, I really studied it.
Why are we asking the question?
Why are we asking the question, one? And two,
Well, let's remember who put the show together. Let's.
I know Justin Marvel. I know Justin Marvel wanted this from me. That's why I'm on. You see, he don't let me out the dungeon unless I'm gonna rant and say something wild and out there, you know. And I just don't understand how Kyrie Irving, he is the gift and the curse. He is literally such a talented basketball player, but his common sense is null and void. The man is just logically bankrupt. I don't understand. Why would you just come to the Dallas Mavericks? You have Luka Doncic on one side of you, and you're saying, all right, okay, we can make something happen here. They could build a little team around, you know, we get a good, big, a decent nucleus around this team, and then we can make a run for it, you know. I know it's very competitive out west, but we can make a run for it. No, you can say bring over LeBron James, essentially calling shots to take over, just as you did in Boston, just as you did in Brooklyn, and you know how those two situations worked out. Why? Yo, I just wish Kyrie come to his senses sooner rather than later, because he's going to end up on the Houston Rockets of the world, where he be competing for last, scoring 40 points a night, dishing out all the fancy I-want moves that he wants, and they will not be saying anything about him forever. I can't in good conscience say he will not be in the league because Kyrie Irving is that talented. But gee, man, I don't understand. It's not the man say I want to come to LA and play with Braun. No. Let's get rid of Luka Doncic and bring in LeBron. So now so potentially in his mind, he is thinking that he, a primary ball handler, is going to be playing with Luka Doncic, a primary ball handler, and LeBron James, a primary ball handler. How many basketballs do they play with in an NBA game, gentlemen? Last I checked, it was one. You use one basketball to play in a regulation game, not three. One. Tell me how, Kyrie, is it going to work when you are taking all the shots? It's like whoever rebounds the ball going to bring it up. Right? So they can be in there elbowing one another and boxing out each other for defensive rebounds. And they can be rebounding the ball and dribbling up the ball. Like, I'm tired of talking about Kyrie Irving, yo. Like, I am legit over Kyrie Irving. Like, over Kyrie Irving. I just do not understand what is going through his mind when he says certain things. He opens his mouth all the time and says things that nobody asks him for. And even if they ask him for, you use the brain you have in your head and say, you know what, I should just not say this. Why? Because the ink ain't dry on my contract with the Dallas Mavericks. So instead of me running off a generational talent, no, I'm going to open my mouth and say, bring over LeBron James and let's bring the Western Conference version of the Cavaliers from 2016. Justin, you there? Justin, why did you put this question on the docket?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
We want to know why you put this question on your docket. Why is this question here?
Well, it was not breaking news, but it was trending news at the time because we knew that report broke or some sort of news broke, leaked, whatever that.
But there's so many other things we could talk about. We could talk about Zion.
Yeah, well, I thought about that, and
You put Neil in his feelings, man. You can't do that to the poor man.
Can't do that, man.
I've heard that for 20 minutes. So, sure, what else I can add other than to say that, well, this is not going to work either way. Well, first, going to Dallas, obviously, that's out of the question for LeBron James. Not just for the things that Neil mentioned. First, LeBron James has 2 years left on his contract. That's one. Two, he's built a home in LA. And third, I don't want to forget that Bronny just committed to USC. So there is absolutely no way that LeBron James is leaving Los Angeles. That's number one. So the only way then for Kyrie and LeBron to play together is Kyrie coming to LA. And I don't think that works. I mentioned earlier to Neil, and there was a reason, you are going to likely have to re-sign Austin Reeves. And I think after that, I don't know, unless you move on for D'Angelo Russell for nothing. I think after that, in terms of salaries, the only thing you have left is a mid-level exception. And
you legitimately trying to justify Kyrie Irving going to the Lakers? That's what you're doing right now?
No, but LeBron wanted him there. So whether or not you don't want him or not, LeBron was upset when they were not able to trade for him at the trade deadline, and this is factual.
And God is good. God is good.
So, it is a situation the Lakers, or at least LeBron James, has openly coveted Kyrie Irving. That's not a secret. So, and unfortunately, Kyrie Irving wants to play with LeBron James, but he also wants his money. And I'm guessing he wants his money more so than he wants to play with LeBron James. Hence why he asked LeBron to come to Dallas, because that's the only way that Kyrie gets his money and his wishes. So, this is not going to happen next season. I don't know if Blaine and Dwayne already went before me, but to turn it over to y'all guys. But yeah, contractually alone, in terms of salary cap space on either team, this is not going to work. Dallas does not have the trade assets to go after LeBron James. Los Angeles will not buy out LeBron. And LeBron will not willingly leave LA. So I don't know, Blaine, Dwayne, y'all said anything.
If Kyrie wants to play with LeBron James, they can go and play in the big three. That's what they can go and do.
So before, unfortunately, I just want to get in my take because I like to put my shorts up. So before we move on, I wanted to talk to Phoenix Suns added before it was cut out. In terms of situation with Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. I think we all in agreement that they're going to move on. And I think the writing was on the wall, obviously, before this situation, but especially with Frank Vogel's hire, the moment that Frank Vogel was hired, I think the writing was on the wall simply because I think in 3 separate seasons as a head coach, Frank Vogel's teams have finished the season number 1 overall in defense. And Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton are at the very best not good at that end of the floor. You're talking about, and in 2 most important positions at the point of attack and at the rim. So first with Chris Paul, Suns have made it no secret that they don't want to pay him that $30 million. And Chris Paul's not going to come back on a veterans minimum. So at some stage, either next week, we're going to probably see the end of Chris Paul. And during the playoffs, when he was gone in that Denver series, you could see the fact that the Suns are better defensively and they play a lot faster with him off the court. So that's the end of Chris Paul in Phoenix as far as I'm concerned. DeAndre Ayton, though, I think is also gone. And everyone that knows me knows this show. knows about my feelings, Deandre Ayton, so I won't go on and on another rant. What I will say is Frank Vogel, whether it was in Indiana, whether he was at Los Angeles, he has always employed a major shot protector, rim protector, whether that be Roy Hibbert, Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard. His defenses are always predicated on having a major rim protector. That is not DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton these last 2 seasons, and I told Neil before the start of the show, DeAndre Ayton has not even averaged a block a game over the last 2 seasons. To the point where, and this may shock y'all, he averaged less blocks last season than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Derek White. That will not cut it for a Frank Vogel defense. That's not going to happen. So I suspect for that point alone that those 2 men are gone. Dwayne, I don't know if you had Kyrie Irving, LeBron James take for that segment.
I just enjoyed listening to Neil rant. I've got nothing left to add that wasn't already said.
Go ahead, Blaine.
Same here. Neil kind of stole the show. I think he kind of laid it out for everyone. At the rate Kyrie's trending, he's going to be the star on a very low market team, a small market squad.
So y'all don't think that Dallas is... I don't see him leaving Dallas, though, because Dallas...
He's a free agent.
Bro.
He's a free...
Right, but...
Justin,
the reality
LeBron
is,
James is not going to Dallas.
Oh, no, not LeBron James. I mean Kyrie Irving.
All right, you want me to continue? I can see you want me to continue the rant.
No, but
Kyrie,
in terms of... You
because
have to remember Dallas gave up a significant amount of stuff for Kyrie Irving, and you're not going to just watch Kyrie Irving leave in free agency for nothing.
Is an unrestricted free agent.
Right, but
no, watch it.
Teams,
Watch
Dallas
it now, Justin.
can offer him the most.
Dallas won't. Cuban won't pay him enough money for him to warrant.
Kyrie Irving is an unrestricted.
I understand that. Dwayne.
All right, watch me
But
here
of
now.
all the teams, though, Dallas can offer him the most because that was the team he's on. So, are y'all saying that Kyrie Irving is going to give up money to go somewhere else?
No, I'm going to say this. Let me
Kyrie Irving we're talking about here, bro. We don't even know if he
wants to play
basketball when he's listed
Yo.
on the starting lineup. Kyrie Irving does what Kyrie Irving wants to do. If Kyrie Irving wants to go live a life in Guangdong, China, playing for the Guangdong Tigers, that's what he's going to do. If he wants to go to Serbia and ride horses with Jokic in the offseason, that's what he's going to do. If he wants to go to one of the worst teams in basketball in Houston so he can do whatever he wants and ruin the young upstart career of Jabari Smith Jr. and Jalen Green, that's what he's going to do.
Justin.
I think he's good.
Justin.
There's a reason
Send
he
him to
asked
Utah.
LeBron.
There's no one to burn in Utah.
Justin. Kyrie Irving, if you think of the logical thing you would do if you were Kyrie Irving and do the opposite of that, that is what Kyrie Irving is likely to do.
I won't go that far simply because there's a reason he asked LeBron James to come to Dallas. Because if he wanted to go and play with LeBron James, he could just simply take a mid-level exception and go and play LA. He's not silly. He knows.
Oh, he's not silly. Wait.
No,
hold on, brother, man. He's not silly.
Hold on, Neil. The reason he asked LeBron James to play in Dallas is because he wants as much money as he can possibly get, and he knows that that's in Dallas. So that's why I feel like I don't think there is a scenario where he's not playing in Dallas Mavericks because he wants his money.
But
okay.
Justin,
if he didn't want his money, he would not have asked LeBron James to go to Dallas. He would be just preparing to sign in LA for less money as a free agent.
Right, Justin. But hold on.
Marvel, or whatever your middle initial is. We are talking about Kyrie Irving. The man wakes up on the left side of the bed and thinks it's the right. He walks east and he swears he's going west. This is a man whose lone championship run 7 years ago is the only thing that he can hang his hat on for any sort of relevance. In 2017, he lost. In 2018, he lost. In 2019, he lost. In 2020, he lost. 21, he lost because he didn't play. And in 2022, he caused a team who was in the playoffs, tied for 5th, to fall down the rankings so much so that they didn't even make the play-in. Kyrie Irving is not going to the Lakers. He's not going to the Clippers. He's not going to the Celtics. He's not going to the Bucks. There are 5 teams in basketball today, 5 maybe, that would pay Kyrie Irving money. That's not the Dallas Mavericks. The Houston Rockets, the Detroit Pistons, the San Antonio Spurs, the Charlotte Hornets, the Washington Wizards. You know the dumbest of those 5 franchises?
The San Antonio Spurs?
The Houston Rockets are the dumbest of those 5 organizations. Kyrie Irving can decide tomorrow that he wants to retire. Do you really think that the Dallas Mavericks are going to risk the prime of Luka Doncic, a guy who can be the greatest Maverick ever because he has the talent for it? And he doesn't have to do that much to get there. Dirk's got 31, almost 32,000 points. He has 1 championship. He has 1 MVP. He's got a lot of playoff runs, but he has 1 championship, 1 MVP, 1 Finals MVP. If Luka Doncic wins 1 championship, 1 Finals MVP, scores more than 30,000 points, and wins at least 2 MVPs, he's the greatest Maverick ever. That's what we're talking about here. The Mavericks are not going to risk Luka Doncic's prime and the chance to win a championship and build around Luka Doncic, who is, by the way, 25 years old or 24 or whatever. They're not going to risk that for a flat earther. It's not happening.
Well, they already did, Dwayne, because they already traded for Kyrie Irving, and there's no way, right? And I'm saying this quite frankly, that Dallas is going to choose not to sign back Kyrie Irving. If Kyrie Irving does not return to Dallas,
Kyrie Irving think he is?
All right, wait, hold on.
If Kyrie Irving does not return to Dallas, it is because Kyrie Irving is not coming back. But it won't be because Mark Cuban didn't offer him all the money that he wants to offer him.
But I actually agree with that. Hold on, Dwayne. I actually agree with that, right? The only reason Kyrie will not be in Dallas next season is because Kyrie doesn't want to be in Dallas next season, or he does something absolutely stupid to warrant him not being in Dallas. But what I will say is this, right? The logical thing for Kyrie to do is to keep his mouth quiet, and whatever money Dallas throws at him, he signs for. Because this is the only team that he can see himself in the playoff in the next couple of seasons. Will Kyrie do that? Gentlemen, we could as well go and play the lotto. We got better odds at that, winning a couple $100 million. Because right now, us talking about Kyrie Irving doing something that we know full well could be. So Kyrie could get up tomorrow and say, you know what? I don't feel like playing in Dallas no more. I think I deserve to play for the Denver Nuggets. So I am going to do everything in my power to get to the Denver Nuggets. I hope it ends up with him playing in a 3-on-3 tournament in Botswana. Really and truly. Because I don't understand why a player of Kyrie Irving's talent, why he constantly finds himself in situations that he doesn't have to be in. Like, you're making millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars you're making. You are a great player, and you can be a tremendous asset to a team. Just focus on basketball, keep your head down, do what you got to do, and let the word speak for itself. No. Kyrie is looking to alienate the owner of a franchise and an up-and-coming superstar.
Doing Kyrie Irving things. So, as we're talking about teams in the Western Conference and possible playoff contenders, we have one currently trying to win his first title in the franchise's history, and we're talking about the Denver Nuggets. So, Blaine, I mean, we have to assume that Denver Nuggets won't join your Warriors as teams to blow 3-1 leads in the NBA Finals. So, after they win this championship, are the Denver Nuggets going forward the team to beat in that conference?
I mean, yeah, probably have to put them as the front runner, right? The team that prides themselves on the regular season. Everyone that's a critical playmaker on this team will be under contract again next year. Why can't they run it back as the front runner in the Western Conference? They have the best player in basketball in Nikola Jokic. They got the best player in basketball in Nikola Jokic. They've predicated themselves on building a team around their superstar to a T. They've prided themselves on putting shooters and depth around him so that when he's off the court, there's still another playmaker in Jamal Murray. And honestly, the addition of Bruce Brown has been an extreme surprise with his production of two playmakers off when he's out. What teams that are going to be in contention, right? Marcus kind of laid it out for us at the beginning of the show, right? Memphis, we got no clue what they're going to look like, depending on how significant Ja's suspension is going to be. Then you have the Golden State Warriors. We don't know what they're going to do with Jordan Poole or if they're going to blow it up. I don't think they'll blow it up with Curry and Thompson, but you don't know if Draymond's going to come back in that regard, especially with Bob Myers walking away. So you don't know what's going to happen there. Probably the end of an era potentially in the next year or two with the Warriors. Sacramento Kings, I think they're an intriguing prospect for next year. Yet another year under their belt. All of them are coming back. So I think, and honestly, the Kings are one of the more exciting teams to watch in basketball. Then what is the Lakers going to do? I think we're all kind of assuming LeBron is not going to retire, even though he kind of posed that question. Then that for the Lakers, it becomes health, right? That team that they had pretty much post All-Star, post trade deadline was arguably a top 3 team in the Western Conference and got themselves to the Western Conference Finals. LA Clippers, still don't know what they're going to be. They're all reliant on health, right? You don't know if Kawhi and PG are going to be sustainable health-wise. And then New Orleans, you don't know what they're going to be health-wise, again, with Zion Williamson. The Oklahoma City Thunder are coming, right? They're on the rise. I think they're still another year or two away before they will be legitimate contenders. So there's a lot of pandemonium in the Western Conference to still look at. What's the team that looks like it's going to be the most consistent returning? The Denver Nuggets. That's why the Denver Nuggets are going to be the front runner once again next year.
Do you agree, Dwayne?
I just love how Blaine Spencer just picks and chooses like when he wants to apply certain things to other teams. Like you ran down health concerns for every team except for the team that has had a lot of health concerns over the past couple seasons. Like Michael Porter Jr.'s back could give out at any moment. And I don't mean that to be like in a funny thing. But
I'm going based off of this year, Marcus.
Sir, why do we keep doing it?
All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can go. You can go.
How you treat me, Blaine. I love you, bro. I don't know why you keep treating me with such hostility.
Because you make fun of me every time I'm on your show.
Well, it's not my fault. You're a Commanders fan, and it's easy. I don't know what to tell you. I hope Sam Howell and the crew wins 2 games this year. Anyway,
oh, I did the math. It's gonna be 5.
That's wishful thinking. That's ridiculous. Anyway. You have to give the Nuggets the benefit that we've given every other conference champion in history, which is that they should be the favorites, right? Like I cannot think, and Justin, you're like 30 more years older than I am, but like I can't think. It's 22, but whatever. You used to sit for oil painting, so you've seen a lot more basketball than I have. I can't think of a time ever when you looked at a defending champion or a defending conference champion anyway and said, this team isn't favored to come out of this conference next season. I don't think that's ever happened. I think that just comes with the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to extend that to all sports. Like very rarely, if it's ever happened, have you ever looked at a conference champion and said, this team's probably not making it back here, or at least shouldn't be favored to make it back here next season. The Denver Nuggets, I agree with everything that Blaine said, except for the best in the world part. Nikola Jokic is not the best player in the world. He's the best center in the world, but he's not the best player in the world. And I can't even believe that I can, because it's Blaine Spencer, and Blaine says crazy things. But the Denver Nuggets, the one thing that I am concerned about, though, is when you look at the Denver Nuggets, there is still something left to be desired defensively for Nikola Jokic. And at some point, that will be their downfall. When some team, East or West, picks up on that and exploits on that in a 7-game series, that will be their downfall. The Nuggets have been fortunate enough, and I don't want to sound like I'm discrediting the Nuggets because I'm not, because they've gotten here and they deserve to be here. The Nuggets have been fortunate enough to have come across teams that either were not ready, were clearly inferior to them, or were unable to exploit Nikola Jokic on the defensive side of the ball. But yes, the Nuggets should be favored to come out of the the West next season. They are the Western Conference champion. They are 1 game away from winning the Western Conference Finals. And just because I love to dig on Blaine a little bit more, I actually hope the Nuggets win this game tonight, because it would mean nothing more than me to know that Blaine Spencer is still the fan of a basketball team that is the only team in NBA history to give up the 3-1 lead. And might I add, the team that has won the most games in a regular season in basketball history. That, my friends, is the team that Blaine Spencer's a fan of. And I need that to exist just for another year.
Thanks, Marcus. Appreciate you as always.
Of course, bro. I love you, man.
Neil, same question. Is Denver, the favorite to come out of the West going forward next season, or do you see a potential challenger usurping them?
I'll keep it short and sweet, as I dominated the show a bit earlier. Yes, they're the favorite to come out of the West next season. I know there's no one I expect to usurp them unless something major happens in the offseason. Denver, if they could keep this nucleus healthy and intact, and the other teams kind of still putter about to get their stuff together, something crazy like LeBron James going to Dallas. I fully expect Denver to be there and thereabouts, because this team, all they need is a championship to get that experience, to get a taste of winning. And I don't think that if they can remain healthy and keep it together, I don't see why they can't come out the West again, or be a major threat in the West again. And it's crazy. This is a crazy question, by the way. Sorry to cross you, right? But again,
no, it's not. I'll answer right, because Dwayne asked a point, and I'll bring it to him, and Neil should know this very well. You asked Dwayne, was there ever a champion where, the next season you thought, oh, well, this is not going to repeat? And it's very simple. As recent as the 2012 Dallas Mavericks, for their decision not to bring back Tyson Chandler.
This in the Dallas 12.
Right. All right. So they didn't bring back Tyson Chandler, and everyone kind of knew, this is a one and done situation. And then you have situations like the 2004 Detroit Pistons. Kind of figured, yeah, they won this title, but can they come back with this squad and repeat? Probably not. And they, to their fairness, they did get back and took San Antonio to, I want to say, 7 games. But yeah, there are teams that you look at and say,
but we're not talking about repeating as champions. We're talking about, can they make it back out of the conference?
Right. Well, 2011, then to answer your question, the 2012, 2013 Dallas Mavericks, I kind of thought that,
sure, I'd agree with that one. I do think that not bringing back Tyson Chandler was definitely not a smart decision at all in that case. Yeah.
But yeah, this is a slam dunk. When you look at not just how Denver's created, you mentioned Michael Porter's health, and that is a serious concern. But Michael Porter Jr. has not exactly been lighting the playoffs on fire, especially not these finals. He's been almost absent, and Denver's going along quite fine. Not that he's not an important player, but when you look at what Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray have been able to do, it's almost like, well, you're a luxury more so than you are a necessity for the team. But then we look through the rest of the Western Conference, there are more question marks than there are answers. Blaine's Golden State Warriors, with Bob Myers gone, you don't know, are they going to bring back Draymond Green? What's the situation with Klay Thompson, and especially the season that Jordan Poole has? Are you going to bring him back? Are you going to look at Jordan Poole as a trade asset? Because as it is constructed right now, the Warriors are a very, very flawed team that will not compete as is. My own Phoenix Suns, yes, you have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, 2 top 10 players, but that's about it. And you saw against Denver Nuggets, it took those 2 players at their very best just to win 2 games, simply because the roster is, shorthanded. And it's not like Phoenix has the assets to make major overhauls or major changes going forward. The Los Angeles Lakers, I thought Neil did a great job at the trade deadline to retool that Lakers squad. But again, that's a bit handicapped because you're going to have to bring back Austin Reeves at a significant salary. And then when you lose D'Angelo Russell, which I assume that you're going to, like, where is that third star that you're going to put alongside an aging LeBron James and a very unhealthy Anthony Davis? We have to assume that at the very least, Jamal is going to be missing for at least half a year. That's the starting point. And I would not be surprised if it's a full year suspension that Jamal is facing. So we would not expect Memphis to contend next season. I love the Sacramento Kings and what they're doing growing up, but they're like 2-3 years away and another player from realistically pushing the Denver Nuggets in a series. Dallas Mavericks, they are just a couple months shy of missing the playoffs entirely. And then you don't even know if Kyrie Irving is coming back in free agency. And if you don't get back Kyrie Irving for all the stuff he is off the court, then you would have traded away assets for a player you're losing for nothing. And that will set back Dallas by at least another 3-4 years. It could go on and on, but when you look at the state of the Western Conference, and then all of us knew that Rudy Gobert trade from Minnesota was absolute craziness, nonsense. And I suspect, for me, if Minnesota is serious about going forward, that you're going to have to build around Anthony Edwards and move on from not just Gobert, but Karl Anthony Towns as well. But I won't go on and on about Karl Anthony Towns considering that his home life. Yeah, the state of the Western Conference is in quite flux. And then the Los Angeles Clippers, who I thought should be the contenders in that conference, can't rely on Kawhi Leonard's health, can't rely on Paul George's health. And then what are you going to do with the Russell Westbrook situation? Are you bringing him back or are you going to move on? The team with the least amount of question marks, the Denver Nuggets. And not only would I say that that's a favorite to come out of the West, I'd say they probably start as a favorites for NBA champions in 2024, simply because, again, like Blaine, I agree, Nikola Jokic is arguably the best player in basketball, and they have deficiencies defensively. There's no doubt about that. But the deficiencies or the question marks they have are smaller and lesser in number than every single other team, and even those out east. Because now Milwaukee is now going through a new coaching change. Will they be able to bring back Drew Holiday? Will they be able to bring back Chris Middleton? Drew Holiday is getting older. So too, are you bringing back Brook Lopez? There are a lot of question marks in Milwaukee. Philadelphia, time and time again, has fallen short in the second round. Then you're having another coach. Boston, you have a new coach. Situations, will Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, can you continue to work that tandem? You don't even know if you're bringing back Jaylen Brown because you don't know if you're going to sign into that max extension. All of these contenders have major question marks, and Denver, to me, has fewer than everyone else. So in light of that, gentlemen, quite quickly, games in the second quarter, who wins tonight's game 5 and why? Starting with you, Neil.
Miami, because I love the NBA Finals.
Blaine.
It's Heat up 10 right now. I'm still riding with the Nuggets because I did pick Denver in 5 as my original prediction. That can still come true tonight, so I'm rolling with that.
Dwayne Marcus.
You know, I want the Heat to win tonight. I want them to win Game 6, just so that Blaine Spencer can think that the 2022-23 Denver Nuggets are going to join the 15-16 Warriors on the couch of giving up that 3-1. And even though I picked the Heat to win the whole thing, and I do still down in my heart want them to, I want the Heat to lose in Game 7 so that all that hope of one of the most embarrassing endings to a season ever. I want all that hope for Blaine Spencer to think that he's finally not alone. I want it to disappear in Game 7 when the Nuggets.
I still blame the NBA for Draymond's suspension, so it's fine.
But
I will hold for that.
There, and he proved that in Game 6. Stop it.
Game 5 was on our home court, bud.
Yeah, why are we
Game
Wait,
blaming
was on
other
our home
people for a
court.
grown man's action? Why don't you tell
Why
Draymond
don't
Green
you-
to keep his feet away from people's nuts? And how about that?
Why don't you blame Draymond Green
Right.
for his own suspension? Why not
Look
that?
at you. What a Warriors fan you are, not holding your
You
players
know,
accountable. That's
and
what's wrong
Draymond
with
we
Golden
trust,
State now.
okay?
That's why Bob Myers is leaving, because Steve Kerr can't hold anybody
Bob
accountable.
Myers. Did you see that man, his post game and his like retirement conference? That man looked so
He's not retiring.
rel-
No, he's not retiring. He's gonna go bring some championships somewhere else. He's just leaving
Probably.
Golden State.
He looked so relieved
Yeah.
that he is done
Yeah.
with the Golden State
Yeah,
Warriors.
he's done with Draymond Green, and you guys are done winning championships. Can't wait.
We're not done with Blaine Spencer though, because Blaine, please tell us how to find you and what you got coming up next.
Yeah, you can check the final whistle out on Instagram and TikTok via social media, final.whistle, Facebook, Final Whistle Sports Power on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're on it. Everything. Me and my co-host Joe Ciccoletti. Marcus's preferred version of the Final Whistle is Joe Ciccoletti. We're going to be dropping an episode hopefully Tuesday or Wednesday this week. Pretty much going through the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup, as well as doing a U.S. Open preview, as that's this weekend as well. So be on the lookout for that.
Ooh, gotta watch that episode for sure. Dwayne Marcus, tell the people how to find you and what you got coming up next.
That's like the oldest sentence ever I just heard, Justin. Just the excitement of golf just reeks old man.
Wait till you get to my age
No.
and then you will understand.
I will never watch golf ever. I've gone 20 years without it. I'll go another 22.
Live PGA merger, baby.
Yeah, boy.
Ew, it's
Give us the money.
disgusting. Anyway, subscribe to the Give Us a Shot Network. Right now, I believe Mike, Corey, and Germ and some others are live right now on the network YouTube channel doing a Game 5 live watch along. If you head over there right now, you can check that out, and then of course subscribe. That's where I am. That's where JT the Don is. That's where Germ and Bert of Stuff About Sports is. Mike and Corey of The Divide, and of course the guys of the High Spot podcast. It's a wonderful collection of talent over in that side of the world. So go ahead and feel free to give us a follow.
Do that. Neil, the people by now should know that you don't only do hashtag this just in. Tell them about your other projects.
Right. So I have the Senate podcast. You can check us out every Tuesday and Thursday as we talk about everything, life, love, and everything in between from the perspective of men, Caribbean men, Black Caribbean men. We are every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Barbados time. You'll have to Google that to get all the rest. So check it out. You know, we try to keep you entertained. We talk the things straight. And then, of course, we have the Senate Shorts somewhere in there where they're a bit lighthearted, shorter content. And then we have the Bad Movie Crew. We're trying to get back into the swing of things. There are so many good movies out now. I will not mention Fast 10 in that. I will say that John Wick 4 is really good. We have to review that. And some other movies that are coming out this summer that we want to give our unique review on it. And of course, I'm really glad to have been here talking sports with Dwayne and Blaine. I think that should be a show, Dwayne and Blaine. The Dwayne and Blaine podcast, or the Blaine and Dwayne, because B is before D. So
Dwayne would never do a show with me.
That's not
You need. I think, Neil, you need to review Across the Spider-Verse. Easily the best Spider-Man movie of all time, but that's another conversation for another time. So please like, follow, subscribe, all three gentlemen and their projects. They're absolutely great. That's the reason I bring them on the show. Wouldn't do that otherwise. And then when you're done, hit the like button, subscribe. We are a YouTube live show only. So every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. You can catch us right here on YouTube for our short form content. We are indeed on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hashtag this just in. Please put in the hashtag even months longer because Max Kellerman and the imitation this just in will be off air just shortly, leaving the only original this just in.
Oh.
So apparently they will be the casualties of bringing over Pat McAfee to ESPN.
Well, I mean,
So-
that show is not doing well anyway.
It really wasn't. It wasn't surprising. I thought even without Pat McAfee that Max Kellerman was going to be a goner, at least his show, and he does so well with Keyshawn and Jay on early mornings. Yeah, yeah, I think that show is pretty awesome. So for Neil, for Blaine, and for Dwayne, I am indeed Justin of hashtag this Justin signing out. I'll see you next week, Monday, when we crown a new NBA champion. Good night.
Peace and love. Stay hydrated, guys.
I know that after tonight, you don't have to look up at the stars. No, 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 no. I
Come take a look at my
that
dream
tonight,
world.
Tonight, you don't have to look up at the stars.
Chat, if you wanna come get it, then come for it. I'm so clean, my kick's nice, I'm Chuck Norris. Minute made the beat bounce, had to jump on it. Run for it, run, Gump Forrest Gump like hollow pumps, you gotta jump. No trouble, no double, I got a stun. You don't have to look up at the stars. Make one wish, you're looking at a star. Swag so fresh, you can put it in a jar. And the way I change gear, you can put me in the car. I remember